Okay, welcome to my presentation, Horticultural Societies. They started roughly in 7000 BCE. They were the first of permanent settlements. The majority were semi-permanent though. They are the evolved product of 500,000 years of hunter-gatherer humans. And they're defined by a group of people who have a semi-complex society including polytheism, burial rituals, gender roles, domesticated animals, cereal crops, structures, and incorporation of the slash and burn technique, which is kind of the first example of crop rotation, but kind of on a smaller scale. Horticultural versus agricultural. There's a slight difference because horticultural is way less advanced than an agricultural society. Think of a tribe compared to like a full-blown civilization, like a Babylon, for example. It is far less organized and on a smaller scale. Horticultural groups have been around for almost 10,000 years, while agricultural groups began like Mesopotamia. They haven't been around as long. Agriculture relies on record keeping, some sort of uniform at its minimum, and organized land keeping and crop rotation, which the former does not have, other than slash and burn. You having a small garden, growing some tomatoes, potatoes, whatever, that's an example of horticultural. Growing stuff on a small scale. If you have a 75-acre potato farm, that would be agricultural. We're going to be checking out the Maasai people of Africa. They live in Tanzania and Kenya. They're famous for hunting, and they have this thing where they drink the blood from cattle, and it's kind of important in their culture and their tribe to do that. Their main crop is like a corn, and it's just a small percentage of their diet. They herd goat and sheep. They eat bitter roots, which lowers their cholesterol, and they compare Maasai people that don't eat it, and they found that they kind of have heart complications. They have really good dental hygiene for some reason, and they don't really have the same practices that we do, which is interesting. We'll look at the Warao people of South America. They kind of chill in Venezuela, and the area was actually named after them because the Spanish saw their huts and they're like, oh, this looks like Venice, kind of. Their diet consists of fish that they find in the rivers, crabs, and local wild vegetables. They became horticultural over 3,000 years ago, and they occasionally grow some crops, but it's kind of rare. So it's more like gardens. Their life revolves around the rivers for the most part, and they make excellent rowboats. And most are illiterate. Some could read Spanish. Most speak Spanish. Thing going on. Pretty much this hunter person descended from the sky thousands of years ago. He was hunting a bird that came from beyond the sky. He chased it when it crashed into the earth, and that happened to be near the Warao people, and this heavenly hunter introduced himself to the people. He forsake his homeworld, denounced it, and said, I'm going to chill on earth, because he saw it from beyond the sky, and he was in awe of it. He was like, this is really cool, I want to be here instead. Some of them have sketched what they claim the heavenly hunter looked like, and this is what they claim. Interesting. Now we're going to watch a short video on the Warao Indians.
Warao Indians live in the valley of the Orinoco River. Boats are the main mean of transportation for the Warao. There is not so much land in the places they inhabit. The depth of the river is mainly a swamp with mangrove forests. Despite a small population, the Warao people affected the world map. Their huts on stilts reminded the Spanish conquerors of the famous European city, so they decided to call the whole territory Venezuela, Little Venice. Not only the housing of the Indians is connected to water. In fact, they spend their whole life on water. That is why the name Warao means the boat people. Nowadays, the whole population doesn't exceed 20,000 people. They mainly inhabit the Orinoco Valley in Venezuela. Some live in the neighboring countries of Guyana and Suriname. The humidity is very high here, and many Indians suffer from tuberculosis. Moreover, at low tide, the air is filled with millions of mosquitoes. Due to constant flooding, the Warao people build their houses on special elevations, using wooden stilts or on big platforms made of tree crowns. The roof is made of canes and branches, and there are no walls in these houses. Despite the harsh conditions of survival, the Warao tribe is welcoming and friendly. Everyday work for the sake of the family doesn't leave them much time for other things. That is why there are almost no crimes in this society. It teaches them to enjoy the sun, the fish you catch, or the smile of a child. The most common things that people tend to forget in the modern, fast-moving world. Some Warao work in the tourism industry, but in general, the 21st century hasn't affected the life of the tribe.